With Operto, we've actually been quite happy to have our weekly calls where we discuss our feedback. Because every time you implement something, you find something which is a little different than you expected it was going to work. But we've been very happy with Operto. There's always a productive, constructive conversation in how we can improve the product and make sure that guests have as seamless a process as possible, and that we have as seamless a process as possible so we can support those guests.
I think as a company, we're very proud of our technology, but me as a CEO, I'm actually more proud of our people. We have a fantastic CS team that is constantly in touch with our customers, making sure we understand their businesses, where they want to be today, tomorrow, and in 5 years from now. And we work in a very consultative way to ensure that that happens.
Similarly to most of our clients, Prague residences really face one main challenge, which is to improve the on-site guest experience during the check-in, but also at the same time reduce the amount of staff needed to facilitate this check-in. I'm Stephanie, and I'm a Customer Success Manager, Team Lead for Operto Europe. Prague Residences was not only looking at the on-site guest experience, but also looking at the process pre-check-in. Operto brought three main solutions to the table. The first one being digital check-in, the mobile web app, and most importantly, the access control to the rooms.
A lot of hotels, when they decide they want to go contactless, what they end up doing is implementing a mobile key, or at least that's the first thing they think of. So the guests can use their phone to open a lock, and then we don't need to give them a key. The challenge with that is that mobile key is just not going to work for 100% of your guests. You can't depend on it all of the time because guests will lose their phone, they'll break their phone, you'll have older travelers that are not comfortable using technology that way, or people that just don't want to download another phone app. And that's why we've seen in this industry really low download rates, often single-digit percentage points for the download rate of mobile key apps. Operto has a different spin on it. While we do leverage a mobile key and give the ability for the guest to experience that tech-forward way of accessing their room, we also introduce the redundancy of access codes. So every guest has a unique access code, 4 to 6 digits, that's programmed onto a lock, which they can use to enter without using their phone and without using a physical device. What this means is you have a system that works for 100% of your guests. Anybody, no matter what age you are, what language you speak, or how comfortable you are with technology, can use an access code because we all use it with PIN codes on our credit cards and everything else. If you're 100% dependent on a mobile key, then you need a physical system to stand behind that. So for any guest that can't use a mobile key, you need to be able to issue a physical credential. Operto has a different spin on how we provide contactless access. While we do leverage a mobile key for any guests that want to have that sort of tech-forward experience, we also implement access codes for every guest, which provides redundancy. So it's not enough to just have smart locks. There's a lot of other pieces of the process that need to be considered. First and foremost is the digital check-in. If you want to digitize a front desk, then we need to replicate the actions of a front desk in a digital format, which means taking an ID, taking a security deposit, taking your credit card, making sure it's a valid credit card. These are all the steps that we can do with the Operto guest portal and our guest verification module.
Without being able to get a hold of people to man those receptions, even our initial plan of 3 receptions proved to be unrealistic. So currently we're working with 1, which means that the contactless system becomes incredibly important to how we work. We could not work without it, in all honesty. So we've actually been happy to go through the painful process of implementing it, finding the things that we can improve, learning how to present the information to guests better and better in terms of how the system works, to the point where we have more than half of our portfolio now working through the contactless system.
We reached that point of trust and full completion thanks to weekly contacts with Karel and Colin, evaluating what was going well, what was going wrong. Then we were going back to some of the blockades that we could have had, finding a solution, applying to the next building. And so we constantly improve, and the way that the first building was onboarded back in June last year is probably totally different than the way we will onboard the last building now, a year after the first building was onboarded.
Every time we work with a new client, there's some growth that takes place. Every market, every country, every client's business model is different, and there's a lot of things that you have to take into account. Coming up with a vision that was going to work for Prague Residences and enabled us all to be successful in providing that sort of contactless experience was a learning experience and something that we can certainly apply to other clients, not just in Prague, but across Europe and around the world. I'd say what's next for Prague Residences is growth. Coming out of COVID, they've now implemented a system and the processes that are going to allow them to be an efficient and scaled operator. And I know they have big ambitions for taking on more properties and really growing their footprint in Prague and really becoming one of the Czech Republic's premier providers of short-term accommodation. One of the great things about partnering with Operto is that we provide a technology platform that is going to evolve and grow right alongside them. So it's not just buying something at a fixed point in time, it's partnering with a company that is going to support your growth for years and years to come. And as we come out with new integrations and new devices and new challenges that we're solving, Prague Residences is going to be able to deploy those and utilize them at every one of their properties and accelerate their growth with everything great that we have coming out in the years to come.
It's really important to me that we're servicing our clients, that we're always ahead of where our clients want to be as a business, and we're always listening and we're always making sure that we're putting ourselves in their shoes, because we want to make sure that we're removing as many pain points from their day-to-day operations as possible. One of the beautiful things that this technology unlocks for our users is that you can start to reimagine what the guest experience looks like from the time they arrive to the time that they're staying with you and to the time that they've left your property. And I think that, when you look at a Prague Residences, they were able to redeploy that human capital into places in their business where they were potentially more impactful for the guest. So whether that's someone who's greeting someone or helping carry bags to their room, whatever that might look like, it's really exciting that technology allows us to unlock the power of human capital. From an operational perspective, the most exciting thing for an owner-operator is that they can now sort of reimagine the way that they want to run their business. So in the case of Prague Residences, that's a fundamental shift in someone's business model, and technology unlocks the ability to do that.
I think there's almost no limit to where this automation can go. Right now we're taking baby steps in implementing the contactless system, but as we plan forward, I can imagine in 10 years that it would be completely automated, right down to the temperature, right down to noise, right down to notifications. On a corporate level, we want to be not just the biggest provider of short-term accommodation in Prague, but also the best provider. And that goes right through from the product, which we're investing a lot of time and energy into, all the way down to the guest perspective, which is, can guests come to the apartment without having to go to check-in, without having to go through any other processes? We want to basically work in the 21st century.